I remember the first time I went to my accountant. We sat down and he was asking me a bunch of questions. And then he said, "So how are you keeping records of your income and your expenses? Are you using a spreadsheet or some accounting software?" And I looked him dead in the face and I said, "Oh, no, I'm just using a shoebox." And he turned pale white before I told him I was joking, and I had a pretty extensive spreadsheet that I was using at the time. And the reason that he turned pale white is because a shoebox is a terrible accounting method. It's just a pile of papers. You can't possibly understand the health of your business when you just shove all of your receipts and invoices into a shoebox. And it's kind of the same with a podcast that lacks an actual planner. I've talked to dozens of podcasters, and the worst answer that they can give me when I say, "How are you keeping track of your episodes?" is, "Oh, I don't. I just record them and release them." Followed only by, "Oh, I use a notebook or whatever scrap of paper is near me." The reason this is bad is because you can't possibly have a strategy or get ahead if you are not using a podcast planner. You don't know without referencing your published episodes what you've talked about and what you haven't. And you don't have a place to keep track of ideas. So today, I'm going to tell you all the reasons you need a podcast planner if you want to streamline your podcast, if you want to get it to a place where you're not feeling constantly overwhelmed and constantly behind and feeling under the gun to get an episode out because you always publish on Mondays and it is Sunday night. And if you are thinking, "This is great, I just don't know where to start, I need a podcast planner," you can go to streamlined.fm/planner and you can get my Notion template totally for free. You don't even have to put in your email address. This is just yours. You can join my email list on that page, and I will talk about building systems and automation. But if you just want the planner, totally free, no strings attached, just go and download it. That's at streamlined.fm/planner. So let's give you 3 reasons why you need a podcast planner. Number 1, it helps you stay organized. By having a podcast planner, you can look at all of your published and upcoming episodes. You can order them the right way. You can see when you're going to run out of ideas. And you can keep track of the episodes you've published and the ideas you're thinking about publishing, and maybe the ones that just don't do very well. This is especially important if you have guests on your podcast, because you need to keep track of even more, not just your ideas, but have you booked the guest? Have you recorded with them? Is the episode out for edit? You can't keep all of this in your head. Things will fall through the cracks. Which brings me to my second point. Having a planner that helps you stay organized also helps you get ahead, because now, instead of just working on the next episode and publishing the next episode, you can plan multiple episodes all at the same time and know how much runway you have. At any given time, I know what I have in the tank, and usually I am 4 to 5 weeks ahead of schedule with my podcast. And knowing that means that I can batch record a bunch of episodes in a day, schedule them, react to what my audience is saying and asking, and then plan the next batch of episodes. In fact, I was looking over my planner recently and I had made a mistake not in the numbering of the episodes or the number of episodes that I had in the tank, but in the dates. I had skipped a date. But because I was so far ahead, I just bumped everything up an extra date. And so no panic on my part, no worrying that, oh my gosh, I don't have an episode for this week. Just moving some things around to get the schedule back on track. So having this will give you more time and space. It will make you panic less, and it will increase the quality of your episodes, because instead of sitting down on a Sunday night or a Monday afternoon to get an episode out the next day and going, what should I talk about today? And then throwing something together, or even worse, asking ChatGPT or some LLM what you should talk about and then having it come up with an outline for you, you can actually think about the problems you're trying to solve for your audience. So those are the first two things. A planner will help you stay organized, and it will help you get ahead. But you might be thinking, okay, Joe, I can do that with a paper planner. Like, why is a notebook so bad? Well, it's really because of the third reason, and that is using an online planner or a digital planner helps you build a system and automations around your podcast so that you don't have to do as much. The reason that I use Notion is really twofold. The first is that it is really easy for me to share my planner with my team, so my VA and my editor, and when I'm releasing a video for a particular episode, my thumbnail designer. And the other reason is there are lots of automations. Notion has built-in automations, and both Make and Zapier work with Notion, which means that I can easily use automation to put things in the planner, update the planner, send emails based on status changes inside the planner, add assets to the planner, and more. And as we move into an increasingly sophisticated version of AI, something that people are calling AI agents, having a digital planner will allow those agents to work directly with the planner without us. Something I haven't tried yet, but I plan to do in the very near future, is see how Claude Cowork can help me manage the files for my podcast without me having to touch a thing. So the way that I record my solo episodes is I open up Logic Pro, I have an outline or some notes that I've scribbled on a note card of the things I want to talk about. This is the one right there for this episode. I just have a few notes here, some talking points. When I'm done recording, I will save this episode to the Streamlined Podcaster folder in Google Drive. From there, I will take the file and drop it into Mac Whisper, which is my transcription app. I will take the transcript and paste it into my podcast project in Claude, which will pull out the show notes, make sure that I stayed on track the whole time, recommend edits, which I might take or not take, recommend some titles and descriptions based on the keywords I want to rank for, which I, again, will take or not take. I usually end up changing those pretty heavily. But then I will take all of that and paste it back into my planner in Notion to make the changes. That's a lot of moving between apps. My understanding is that Claude Cowork can do all of that for me. I finish recording, and then it takes the file from the folder, drops it into Mac Whisper, copies the transcript, drops it into the Claude project, and then takes the results and pastes it into Notion for me to review. This is the sort of automation that can save you hours per week. It takes me, depending on the length of the episode, anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes to do all of that post-production stuff. Imagine if I could just record a bunch of episodes, have Claude Cowork do its thing, and then when I'm ready to review the copy, I sit down and do it. I've saved, let's say, conservatively, an hour. An hour that gives me more time to either record more episodes or create better content or do billable work or reach out to a potential sponsor. This is the real power of having a good podcast planner. And yes, mine is in Notion. And again, you can get it at streamlined.fm/planner, but you don't have to use Notion. And in fact, if you don't like Notion, you shouldn't use Notion. You should use the one that works best for you, whether that is a Google Sheet or ClickUp or Airtable or whatever. It should be something that is digital so that you can make a system around it. All right, that's it for this episode of the Streamlined Podcaster. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions, comments, concerns, you can send feedback over at streamlinedfeedback.com. If you're interested in what my podcast planner looks like, you can head over to streamlined.fm/planner. And until next time, I hope you find some space in your week.